This is the AM show. Welcome back. Time now for my blunt thoughts. It's a Friday morning. You know how I do it. I'm going to be firing on all 24 cylinders shortly. And this morning, as I welcome you aboard, I'd like to share with you the title for my blunt thoughts: Loose Talk and a Broken Economy. Ghana's Twin Headaches. Loose talk and a broken economy. Ghana's twin headaches. I guess there's no joy for the Ghanaian now, is there? Because even yesterday, when we were praying and everything, at least sports and so also football, ya mutu. Ayo mutu. I mean, so I was just thinking about it yesterday and it hit me. Nothing, absolutely nothing is working in the country right now. I dare you, which one thing is working in our country right now? And don't tell me free SHS, okay? I've always said it's a good thing, but looking at the implementation recently, do you know how many parents, they don't tell you, we have parents in-house who are sharing stories, but of course these will not come on air. You know how many parents, someone was sending me a message, for the sake of where he is, I don't want to mention his name, sent stories about, I have to buy bunk beds, just to ensure. And we've created a system. This is the most annoying part of this for me. It's not even about the children not getting food sometimes. It's not even about the quality of certain things. It's not even about the quality of teaching, even looking at the stratification. It's about how we have gagged people in the educational sector, not just parents, but head teachers, the heads of institutions. You dare say anything. Look up him. So nothing is working. Not even our football is working. The Bible says something about leaders, and when a leader is one after God's heart, what happens? And if not, I don't know. I'm not here to talk religion or spark anything. But I'm just saying that as of now, I don't know what is working in Ghana. And when we say nothing is working, it's not to mean the system is broken beyond repair. Someone will say, oh, but at least we have street lights, at least this and that. No, I'm not talking of the very basics. I'm talking about the things that make a country and make you proud. Walk chest out. I remember, look, over a decade ago, many years ago, when I was in Cuba, one of the things that struck me was that people would mention the names of, the likes of Michael Essien and Asamoah Gyan and others, right? Even if things had a certain tenor or shape, we were selling ourselves out there, sporting-wise. Now tell me, which area is flourishing? And to add to all of that, our leaders, like some people tend to call it, I don't know whether they are suffering from verbal diarrhea or they merely do not season their words properly. But I have a bit of a trajectory, especially when it comes to the first gentleman of the land, Mr. President. I always say, I have high respect for the president, but just as the way I grew up, even when we were little, you would be asked what you would eat. It wouldn't just be foisted on you. We had a say, and so I'll have a say on some of the actions of Mr. President. I'll get to the economy shortly, but I want to look at the trajectory of some of the things Mr. President has said. I remember that interview on a certain platform. I believe it was Peace FM with my big brother, Kwame Sefakai, where the president's addressed a Togbi in the Volta region who was asking for, look, there's an E-block, it's almost done, and this and that. The president directed, if you can't go and do it yourself. That was the first, not the first, but one of the, what do you say? Then it evolved to the Mepe situation. And now the latest one, I don't even know, Ekumfi. I don't even know what to make of it. Is that what you expect of your leader? Okay, let me walk you through what Mr. President has been saying. In October 2023, in the thick of things, he says, in Mepe, in the Volta region, I took the oath as president for every single individual in Ghana, all people in Ghana, all districts, and whether they voted for me or not. Once I have taken the oath, I am the president of the people. But in that same instance, maybe he had forgotten that the Volta region had given his party over 100,000 votes and a seat for the first time in Hohoi. And he said, well, people, you don't even vote for me. So under normal circumstances, we shouldn't even be having this conversation. That sounded very unpresidential, uncalled for. Because once you represent a party, once you get elected, you get the vote of the people, you cease being Republican, Democrat, MPP, NDC, whatever. But I don't think I ought to school the president on this. He knows it. Which is why, for me, I'm wondering, what's going on? Then it comes to this latest incident, January 2024, just a few days ago. Loose talk or true talk? I don't know. Mr. President says, Atukujo, who was voted in 2016, by the way, was your MP, and I made him a deputy minister. And you voted him out in the last elections. And because of that, we are not putting words in the president's mouth. He said that. And because of that, I did not pay attention to development in your area. I have to be honest with you, but since you have brought it up, I will pay attention to it. The silence is intentional. Let that sink in. Need I say more? I don't know, though, no matter how passionate or maybe upset you are, I don't know whether this would pass muster anywhere in terms of politically correct talk. I don't know. But moving away from loose talk, let's talk about a loose economy. Screws loose. Ghana's external debt restructuring. The amount Ghana was hoping to restructure, we all know. We've been over some of these slides. 30 billion, the amount earmarked for restructuring, 20 billion. Let's go to the next slide. Then you look at our creditor groupings. This is not, but these are the creditor groupings. Bilateral creditors, 5.4 billion was what we're hoping to restructure. There was a debt moratorium. Commercial creditors, Eurobonds, like as we know, among others, we are fans of the Eurobond market. Yeah, Eurobond. I think we should be hailed as one of the Eurobond champions, you know. 14.6 billion, of course, we would have to celebrate Kenneth Oriata on that. If you get what I'm doing, you would realize that this is satire. And a haircut of up to 40% on that principle. Let's move on to the next slide. But why the linkage, the nexus, okay, is that in the midst of everything that has happened, there are groupings that are suffering on the back of the DDEP. Now, in recent times, we've also been talking about a specific group of people. Coco bills, and people purchasing them. I'll be telling you about this gentleman shortly, but just a bit of a tale of the tape. People purchase these bonds or bills with specific delineations about what should happen, how much I've contributed, what percentages I should get, what is my coupon, where are my principals, and all of that. All of that goes down the drain, and we should be asking ourselves what that does to the banking system and, by extension, the broader economy. I know people personally today who now refuse to take certain sums of money to the bank because it could become problematic when they want it back. I've heard of people who don't want to invest foreign currency, hard currency, the same way we shore up our system in terms of dealing with inflation and the rest. They don't want to put that in the banks. They don't want to commit it in the banks. I'm not surprised the politicians themselves are keeping it at home. It means they themselves don't even trust in the banking system. But with these bondholders, it is heartbreaking because some of them, this is their life's work that they've invested. So hoping to make certain returns so that look of you every month, or look of you every 3 months, look of you every 7 months, they can get by. You're taking food out of their mouths. But let's look at the story of this man. Echikwam is a pensioner. I worked for over 35 years. Juma 35 years. I have worked in so many companies and done some investments for a while. But for the Coco bills, it was just recently I went for it. As part of my retirement, I got a certain amount, pensions. So I moved some money there and we were supposed to enjoy some benefits. But this never happened. Next slide. If you go into the story, shall we go to the next slide, please? If you go into the story, it will tell you about how his wife is heartbroken because, initially there was this payment made and then quickly extracted again, withdrawn, and all of that. These are people who committed their funds, hoping to turn a profit. And rightly so, justly so. They talk about the fact that, look, their children are in school, higher learning. This is what they used to take care of them. Now, they don't have access to that money. And you want to give them paltry sums over an extended period. By force. Oh, by the way, Echikwam and his situation, right? They opted out. That's another thing to take stock of. They were the few. If you look at the percentages, Coco bills, okay, 97.4. They are in the 2.6% who decided to opt out. We don't want to participate, right? So their fund manager, look, we don't want to participate. They are being punished for not participating. You remember the rhetoric of Kenoforiata back then, and if you don't participate, this and that. Why should they be punished for investing in our country? Why? The tail of the tape. If you look at the debt exchange program and the overview, the DDEP first leg, target 96 billion, amount exchange 87 billion, 90.7% participation rate. Pension funds, 31 billion, the amount exchange 29.6, 95.3%. US denominated local bonds, 809 million. Those that participated, 742 million, the equivalent of 91.7%. The Coco bills, like I mentioned, 7.9 billion Ghana cedis, 7.7 billion exchanged, so that left some 200 million, 97.4% participation rate. And then the Bank of Ghana non-marketable bonds, 70.9 billion, 70.9 billion. So 50% haircut, and that was 100% with a 50% haircut. So the total, target 214.9 billion, amount exchange 203.7 billion, 94.8% participation rate across the board. Let's go to the next slide. And then you look at the focus on the Coco bill exchange, right? So the coupon, old bonds, of course, no longer applicable. The new bonds, you get 13%. The average maturing period in the old bonds, 0.7 months. Okay? But here, now you're looking at 4.4 years. Look at what we're doing to people. So let's say you're doing business, you're turning a profit, and we can wrap with you're doing business, you are turning a profit, you are investing 1 cedi, hoping to get some, 20 pesos, 10 pesos or something. And all of a sudden, even the 10 or 20 pesos you will get it now instead of day by day or week by week. You're going to get it in 4 months, 8 months. That is exactly what we're doing. And it means the value of the people's money is going down the drain. To cap it all off, so if you look at the estimated cost and who benefits in the end, Treasury bonds, Tesla bonds, Dachi, 12.4 billion. That's the estimated loss. USD denominated local bonds, the same ones I referred to before, 7.2 billion. Coco bills, 4.5 billion. Bank of Ghana, 70.9 billion. That's 37.6 billion. Pensions, no haircut, and that had to come by thunder, by fire, by force. And then estimated gain to government or loss to bondholders, 60.8 billion. Note, gain to government, loss to bondholders. You know what time it is. So, amidst all this brokenness in the economy, I think the least we could do is be measured in our talk and be empathetic towards the suffering masses. So, Mr. President, I do not know whether you care still or don't care. I cannot speak for you. You have said that hopefully the next person who comes after you will deal with our national problems. But while you still remain president, Your Excellency, Mr. President, please, the loose talk is beginning to actually break hearts. And I don't know what that would bode for your party itself. You say you want to hand over to an NPP person taking over from you. Your rhetoric, Mr. President, is damaging not just our country, but even your own party. And it's food for thought for all of us who ever aspire to leadership, young and old. These are my reflections for you this morning, my blunt thoughts. My name is Benjamin Akapo, and of course, I deliver raw, hot, unedited, undiluted. Ebinumum pe, but candy me mano ekekame. Mecca. Thank you for watching.